Now at 9, the suspect in a missing 4-year-old's murder is extradited back to Oklahoma. Plus, Carthage High School students put their culinary skills to the test with a food truck project. And
Japan and China playing down COVID-19 as deaths, cases, and hospitalizations tell another story. I'm Christina Coleman in Los Angeles. I'll have the details coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Cale Chapman. The man charged with the murder of missing Oklahoma 4-year-old Athena Brownfield has been extradited back to Oklahoma. Ivan Adams was arrested late last week in Arizona on murder and child neglect charges in Athena's death in Cyril, Oklahoma. Alicia Adams is also charged in the case. She faces 2 counts of child negligence. Court documents show Alicia Adams claims to have witnessed Ivan severely beat Athena on Christmas and leave with her body. Athena was reported missing on January 10th after her sister was found alone by a postal carrier. The remains of a child were found during the investigation, but authorities have not officially confirmed they are Athena's. Meteorologist Sam Lane joins us with a first look at the weather.
Boy, it was a beautiful day across the 4 states with lots of sunshine and seasonable temperatures. Radar is clear right now. However, notice there's a winter weather advisory already starting to be issued for parts of western Kansas, and that's a sign of things to come as we head through the weekend. And we're still dealing with the drought across the region. We zoom in a little bit closer, you can see exceptional and extreme drought for southeastern Kansas and parts of northern Oklahoma. The drought is also starting to extend a little bit further to the east into western parts of Missouri, so we need some rain to help out with that. Temperatures this evening, though, we're going to drop down into the 30s all the way down into the upper 20s by tomorrow morning. Taking a look down the lane, we're going to have a chilly rain tomorrow and then a mixture on Sunday morning and cloudy Monday, followed by a winter storm on Tuesday. And of course, I'll have all the details on that coming up in weather in just a little bit.
All right, thank you, Sam. Some Carthage High School students participated in a food truck project to get real experience for the future. KOAM's Yana Adala has more from the classroom.
Some Carthage High School marketing and culinary students put their heads together to come up with a food truck project.
They get to collaborate on something that could be realistic for them. Food trucks are booming, and so they're really popular, and they're able to kind of use those skills to see it come to life.
The students get judged for their semester-long project. They came up with the name, logo, menu, design, and advertisement strategies. 10 groups of marketing students partner with culinary students who picked up one item for the menu and created it, while the machining class created a prototype of the truck.
Our truck is based on the Mexico flag itself, so we use colors like green, red, and white, and black. But we use black more as an accent color. Food that our chef decided to pick was street tacos, and in the street tacos, they're made with flour tortilla with ground beef that seasons it tastes like asada, and we use cilantro, onions, and tomatoes.
Ordonez's favorite part was to design and paint the truck.
The school has lasers here, so they were actually able to make paper cutouts of the food truck, so it was nice just getting to color it overall.
Ordonez is not only in the contest, but is also filming it for a multimedia class.
We are constantly working on ways to cross-collaborate with departments in the tech center, and today you can see that not only do we work with culinary to create food and machining to create the trucks, but we also have our media class here today that is videoing and taking pictures and things to help produce future commercials and things for us.
In Carthage, Yana Haudala, KOAM News.
Curl says a big goal is to add a commercial component for the food truck projects next year. Freeman Health System today held a presentation about the dangers of radon and its prevalence in the Joplin area. Radon is a colorless, odorless, and tasteless radioactive gas that often occurs naturally in the basements of homes. Over time, it can damage a person's lungs and even cause lung cancer.
Such as sealing the cracks in the basement, in the garage, or installing a vent exhaust for radon. These are all the strategies that you could do to mitigate the radon risk.
The CDC says radon causes 21,000 lung cancer deaths each year. Kansas U.S. Senator Jerry Moran today paid a visit to Pitt State's Tyler Research Center to host the National Science Foundation's director among many other guests. The goal is to host special guests to tour the research center and to learn more about the research and innovation happening there. The tour included a trip around the campus where they saw construction for the new simulation hospital at the Irene Bradley School of Nursing. They also visited the Kansas Technology Center.
But we need to make certain that we don't lose some of our best talent and intellect by students who get educated here, but then have to find jobs someplace else in the country. And so the goal here is to make sure that Kansas is that place where our kids.
Kansas Lieutenant Governor David Toland was also in attendance. Many charged with maintaining the nation's security along the southern border say they have lost confidence in the man in charge of Homeland Security. A significant number of Border Patrol agents support Republican efforts to impeach Alejandro Mayorkas. This comes as we see new video illustrating just how rampant human smuggling has become. Fox News correspondent Griff Jenkins has the story from Eagle Pass, Texas.
Driver went over that way. In the span of 6 hours in the Del Rio sector, with Fox News cameras embedded with Texas DPS, troopers stopped 3 separate smuggling attempts. Everybody come on out, guys. Recovering more than a dozen migrants and arresting 2 individuals for human smuggling. In the Rio Grande Valley, Fox cameras trail troopers and border agents as they pursue migrants evading apprehension.
This is truly a disaster down here and we need help.
Border Patrol Council Union Vice President John Anfinson says agents on the front lines have lost faith in the Biden administration's border policies and are joining House GOP calls to impeach DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas.
If it at the very least puts a bigger spotlight on what's happening down here, hopefully gets some other resources here and maybe gets Border Patrol agents out of the asylum business and putting us back in the field, then we're all for it.
For the cartels, it's business as usual. This 22-year-old Mexican national named Edu says he paid $1,000 to cross the border, owes another $5,000 when he reaches his family in Dallas, and did not hold back when I asked him if he feared the cartels.
Yes, I am somewhat scared, but I have to take the risk.
¿Quién es más miedo, the cartel o policía mexicano?
The bad guys, the cartels, of course. We have access codes and we have to give them on our trip, or we'll get kidnapped and then bad things happen.
And Secretary Mayorkas has more to answer for. House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer sent him a letter requesting all DHS documents and/or communications regarding the removal of migrants from sites in El Paso prior to President Biden's visit. In Eagle Pass, Texas, Griff Jenkins, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time to honor another four-state hero. Dean Kinzer served in the U.S. Army from 2001 to 2004. He was stationed in Iraq and South Korea and was a distinguished member of the 502nd Regiment and fought in the first ground assault in Iraq. He also helped set up Mosul city government and phone systems at the war and destroyed most of it. We're proud to salute Dean Kinzer, a four-state hero. And coming up, experts are expecting to be able to downgrade COVID-19 in several parts of the world. We'll have the details. COVID-19 cases are peaking again in China, Japan, and some areas of the U.S. But looking ahead, officials expect to be able to downgrade the virus soon. Fox News correspondent Christina Coleman explains.
In China, the start of the Lunar New Year means increased travel. All the exposure associated with public forums and transportation coming at a bad time. A report by the World Health Organization shows just last week, China had the highest number of COVID-19 hospitalizations since the pandemic began.
We have just lifted the control, and it seems other countries are still not welcoming us. There are now many tourists everywhere, so I want to wait and see.
In Japan, the prime minister saying he will downgrade COVID-19 status in the spring to levels equivalent to seasonal flu. That move would ease mask wearing and isolation rules. But currently, the country is fighting its 8th COVID-19 wave, the latest and largest group of COVID-19 deaths attributed to elderly patients.
We'll deal with the 8th wave of outbreak with the utmost effort by enhancing infectious measures against the spread of the virus and securing medical care.
Here in the U.S., cases are spiking in the Northeast, but parents in Connecticut are upset with the proposed bill that would allow anyone 12 or older to get a vaccine without parental consent.
If my son decided to get a vaccine that I was not in favor of, what happens when he gets a reaction? Is he going to take it upon himself to call his pediatrician and say, "What's going on? Is this normal?" No.
Friday marks 3 years since the first case of COVID-19 was confirmed in the U.S., and that was in Washington State. In Los Angeles, Christina Coleman, Fox News.
Pro-life activists are gathering in Washington today for the first March for the Life event since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. Organizers say they will march past the Capitol and then finish closer to the Supreme Court, marking their, quote, victory in the Dobbs versus Jackson women's health case, which struck down Roe's right to abortion in the U.S. The group says their work is not done, however, and this year's theme, Marching into a Post-Roe America, will focus on, quote, building a culture of life. Sam Lane is next with a complete look at the forecast. And later on in sports, the Webb City Cardinals take on the Fort Scott Tigers in the Raider Classic semifinal. Jacob Leonard will have those highlights.
Well, friends, we had a beautiful day across the 4 states with lots of sunshine. For January, it felt really nice with temperatures in the 40s approaching 50 degrees, including down at Seneca, Missouri, at Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Pretty nice night shaping up down there. A little bit on the cool side out there right now, but we're going to be seeing temperatures dropping down into the 30s and the upper 20s by tomorrow morning. Over the last 36 hours, it was kind of chilly yesterday with highs in the lower 40s. And this afternoon, like I said, we almost got up to 50 degrees here in Joplin. We topped out at 49 for our high. 23 was the low, which was just a little bit below normal and a little bit above on the high, so it kind of all evened out. Of course, we weren't anywhere near the records of 77 and minus 12 back in 1985. We do have some winter weather to talk about on radar right now. It's way out to the west. There's a winter weather advisory in effect for parts of western and northwestern Kansas. That will go into effect until Saturday night into early Sunday morning. And we're going to see the radar light up a little bit over the weekend. You can see on the satellite view, big storm system now over the Four Corners area this evening, now moving into northern New Mexico. That is moving to the east, and that's the first storm system that we're going to be dealing with as far as winter weather goes. A bigger storm system is right behind that one. Temperatures right now are generally in the 30s across our area, even 28 up in Stockton for one of the cool spots, 35 down in Veneta, and 36 in Welch. And tonight we're running right around where we were last night, maybe slightly above where we were 24 hours ago, but not too bad out there. Dew points are also starting to increase a little bit, with dew points generally in the upper 20s to around 30 degrees. And we're going to see mostly fair conditions tonight with 35 degrees right now in Joplin, east-northwest wind at 6, making it feel like 30 degrees out there, and the pressure is currently steady. Now, rain chances over the next 36 hours are going to start increasing as we go through the day tomorrow, and then we'll see a switch over late tomorrow night into early Sunday morning, but it doesn't look like a major system, and that's pretty good news. We're going to have to wait till Tuesday before that starts to move into our picture. Lows tonight are going to be right around freezing with mostly cloudy skies, and then watch as this storm system moves in from the west. We'll start to see that cold, chilly rain starting to spread across our area during the day with temperatures in the 40s. And then as we go through Saturday night into Sunday morning, some of that may start to mix over and change over to some snow, especially up towards the north and west with temperatures in the 30s. And then by Sunday afternoon, that all moves off towards the east with highs generally in the upper 30s to lower 40s on northwest winds. Then as we go into Monday morning, temperatures will drop down into the 20s, but notice here comes the clouds with the next storm system as it starts to pull out into the plains, and that's the one that we're really going to have to pay attention to. All right, rainfall amounts are going to be generally on the light side, less than half an inch across our area, maybe less than an inch towards the north, maybe an inch over towards Branson and Springfield with this first system, but then a bigger significant storm system comes into our picture as we head into the forecast on Tuesday and Wednesday. So I've called for an alert day on Tuesday and Wednesday with significant accumulations likely on Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, and then colder behind that storm system. So winter is back and is not going to be going away anytime soon.
Well, there you go. Hopefully we get some crews out there on those alert days and help everybody get to work.
So enjoy tomorrow if you can.
Yes, yeah, for sure. All righty, well, coming up, as egg prices are rising, Customs and Border Protections are seeing a rise in the cases of egg smuggling across the border. Instead of asking, why did the chicken cross the road, many might now be asking, why did the egg cross the border? The answer? They're cheaper. Smuggling this common grocery item into the U.S., however, is not a good idea. Fox's Anna Eliopoulos explains.
Here at the busy San Ysidro border crossing in California, word traveling fast about a new good being smuggled into the U.S.
Lots of American families crossing the border to buy eggs.
Anthony Gago is a small business owner. His La Bodega market sits on the border with Mexico.
They're basically seeing whatever groceries they can get on the other side, and it's a shame.
U.S. Customs and Border Protection has reported an 108% increase in seized egg products and poultry that people have tried to smuggle through U.S. ports of entry in just the last 2 months. Animal products such as eggs are either prohibited or restricted from entering the United States and must be declared. Failure to obey these rules can result in serious fines, up to $10,000. Begging the question, is it worth the risk? Still, Gago sees it's happening, and it's hurting his bottom line.
We see the customers on a daily basis just it's telling us, how difficult it is.
Meanwhile, inflation taking center stage at the World Economic Forum in Switzerland Friday. Officials with the International Monetary Fund say they don't have a clear picture of when inflation will ease its grip on consumers.
It is less bad than we feared a couple of months ago. But less bad doesn't quite yet mean good.
Transportation cost increases remain higher than overall inflation trends, so the expense of traveling farther for necessities like eggs also negates savings. In New York, Anna Eliopoulos, Fox News.
Imagine getting hired for a job and then finding out it was all a scam. That's the predicament one California man found himself in, and now he's hoping his experience can help others. Trey Hackney says he applied to a seemingly legitimate job posting on LinkedIn and got hired. The scheme was so elaborate the criminals made him fill out forms. Then they sent him a check to purchase equipment. Feeling a bit off about the experience, he called the bank who issued the check and found out it was indeed a scam. Cyber experts say scammers are now using legitimate companies to post fake job openings on LinkedIn with the goal of getting your personal information and your money.
They know that you're looking for something that you probably need, and to take advantage of you when you're really vulnerable. Looking for something is, it's like one of the worst things to do.
Up next, how a popular cereal brand is celebrating Disney's 100th year anniversary. There's a sweet way to celebrate Disney's 100th year anniversary. Cereal company Post Consumer Brands is releasing 2 limited edition cereals in honor of Disney. The flavors include a Mickey Mouse shaped fruity cereal and confetti cake, which comes in a special box, or a limited edition tin for $40. The company has yet to announce when the cereals will be available for purchase. We've got 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. Coming up, we've got the latest on the East Quincy Street project in Pittsburgh and how it's affecting the commute for some residents. Plus, a Southwest Missouri girl earns admission into a prestigious military academy. The city of Pittsburgh provided an update on its East Quincy Street project. They say the project is on schedule. KOAM Shagun Bamadelli was there and has more.
The project is happening around Joplin Street to Rouse Street, and improvements include a 3-lane road for 1 lane each direction of driving with a center turning lane.
It takes a 2-lane road into a 3-lane with curb and gutter, improved storm sewer, great improvements at the railroad track crossing, and additional left-hand turn lanes at the intersection of Quincy and Rouse.
Bacon gives details on what the completed project will look like.
We are going to have sidewalks on both sides of this project, so from a pedestrian standpoint, there'll be walkability now through this stretch of road that connects back to Broadway and some of our other trails, and sidewalks that are actually tied into the Pitt State campus.
As construction continues on the Quincy Road, I spoke to 2 local residents who use the road on a daily basis. One who does not want to be on camera, she tells me she is excited and eagerly waiting for the road to be completed, while the other tells me how the closing of the road has negatively affected his commute time.
I drive to Joplin for work. I'm a nurse in the ICU at Freeman, and so I used to go down this road every day to get to the road to get to Joplin, and so now I'm having to cut through the neighborhood and go down by Via Christi. And so it adds probably a good 5 minutes to my commute. I mean, it's kind of on the way, but there's a lot more stoplights. So that's been a pretty big bummer for me, just because it's changed my everyday commute.
But city officials say the project is right on schedule.
The project is on schedule. It's a multi-phase project. It was a 300-day working project. Again, it's a 300-day working project. They are on schedule. It's a big project. It's $7 million. There's a lot of work involved with this project.
Reporting in Pittsburgh, Shagmamdele, KOAM News.
The project is anticipated to be finished by August. Some Southwest Missouri students are on their way to a prestigious military academy. Senior Sammy Sims is one of the two from Carl Junction, and she earned admission to the military academy today. Her visit to the academy was one of the biggest influences on her to go.
And I fell in love. I loved the atmosphere there. I loved the campus. It's gorgeous. I loved the values that they have there and the education. It's a premier education, and it's all paid for. I mean, I'm going to get to go there. I'm going to learn about leadership. I'm going to be pushed to my limits. It's going to offer so many opportunities.
West Point graduates earn Bachelor of Science degrees and are commissioned as second lieutenants in the United States Navy. Carthage Junior High today hosted its 4th annual Career Exploration Fair. It's an event where they invite local businesses to showcase the various careers and jobs available within the community. Students were given bingo cards with question prompts to help break the ice. Topics included questions such as, did you have to go to college to start your career? And do you practice self-care to manage stress? The fighting in Ukraine ramps up as Western allies remain deadlocked over whether to send more tanks to help stop a new Russian advance. Fox News correspondent Alex Hogan has more from Kyiv, Ukraine.
More military aid will soon be arriving in Ukraine, the U.S. announcing its latest package worth about $2.5 billion at a meeting of defense chiefs in Germany. But there's still no agreement on getting more main battle tanks to Ukrainian forces trying to push back a Russian offensive in the east. The U.S. is pleading with Germany to send Leopard tanks, claiming that the American-made Abrams tanks would be too heavy and use too much gas and would be difficult to maintain.
Germany wants the cover of the United States giving main battle tanks before they do, because they fear that it's an escalation in the mind of the Russians.
A decision on those tanks is expected soon from Berlin. In the meantime, the Pentagon is urging Ukraine not to start a new offensive until all of the latest military equipment has been delivered.
When the tanks are close, our morale is very high. We feel less fear. When we start storming, we will be unstoppable.
The meeting of allies comes as fighting is escalating along the Eastern Front. The Kremlin claimed its forces took 2 more towns overnight in a back-and-forth battle. Ukraine's Western allies now predicting the war will eventually end with a negotiated settlement, not a decisive victory for either side.
For this year, it would be very, very difficult to militarily eject the Russian forces from every inch of Ukrainian-occupied or Russian-occupied Ukraine.
And as more Western aid is pouring into Ukraine, a senior Kremlin official warning that if Russian forces are defeated here in Ukraine, it could trigger a nuclear war. In Kyiv, Ukraine, Alex Hogan, Fox News.
A bit later, health officials are sounding the alarm.
Dry January may be ending soon, but before you pick up your next alcoholic drink, health officials say you should know the risks. I'm Ashley Strohmeyer. Details coming up.
Well, friends, for January, it was a pretty nice day out there with lots of sunshine and temperatures actually near normal for a change. But we're going to see winter come back, and we're going to see that in the forecast. Let's take a look outside right now at Seneca, Missouri at Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Pretty nice night. Lots of clear skies down there for those folks as well. This afternoon, we made it up to 49 degrees, but over the last 36 hours, you can see that we were kind of chilly yesterday with highs only in the lower 40s, but today we made it up into the upper 40s to around 50 degrees, and that felt pretty nice. In fact, it was pretty much close to normal. 49 was the high, 23 was the low, which was slightly below, but then we made up for it on the high, and of course we weren't anywhere near those records of 77 and minus 12, as it can get still very cold this time of year. And speaking of cold, it's already starting to see some winter weather advisories issued for western Kansas. That's in anticipation of the next storm that's going to be moving in tomorrow night into Sunday morning. Right now it's pretty clear on radar, but you can see on satellite view, big storm system now over the Four Corners area pulling into northern New Mexico. As that pulls out into the plains tomorrow, we'll see the southerly winds and also the rain chances start to go up as we head through the afternoon hours. Temperatures right now are not that bad for January. 29 in Pittsburgh, also 29 in Stockton, a little bit warmer over in Monette where they're currently sitting at 37. 39 over in Cassville with those easterly winds. And in fact, we're about a degree or two warmer tonight than we were last night at this time. A little bit warmer out towards the west. Dew points, they're generally in the upper 20s to around 30 degrees, and that's pretty dry air. All right, let's take a look outside right now in Joplin. We're sitting at 35, east-northeast wind at 6, so it makes it feel like it's 30 degrees out there with a humidity of 76%. Rain chances over the weekend, or actually over the next 36 hours, you can see they're going to be increasing as we go through the day tomorrow. And then here's the changeover. Late tomorrow night into early Sunday morning, we could see a mixture of rain and some snowflakes out there. Here's the forecast. We're going to break it down for you. Easterly winds tonight with generally temperatures around freezing. Then as we head through the day tomorrow, here comes the rain from the west. And it'll be a cold rain with temperatures in the 40s, even some 30s up towards the north and west. And then as we go through tomorrow night into Sunday morning, some of that rain could switch over and mix with some snow, especially as the cold air starts to sweep in from the north and west with temperatures in the 30s on Sunday morning. Then Sunday afternoon, temperatures struggling to get out of the 30s into the lower 40s with northwesterly winds. And then that storm system moves away, and then we have a nice night on Sunday night into Monday morning with lows in the 20s. But notice, here comes the clouds on the next storm system, and that's the big one, and that's going to have some major potential winter storm-like characteristics as we go through the forecast. Rainfall amounts are generally going to be less than half an inch across our area, and snowfall amounts even less than that. Maybe a dusting in some areas up towards the north, and also especially off towards the east where they could pick up an inch or so around Branson. All right, here's your 7-day forecast. 80% chance of showers tomorrow night into Sunday morning, maybe mixing over with a little bit of snow Sunday morning, but the big storm system is going to be Tuesday night into Wednesday, and that could be significant. In fact, it could be very bad. So we'll have to watch that pretty closely, and of course you'll need to tune in over the weekend to get the latest on the forecast.
Yeah, I'd say some potential snow days in our future.
Absolutely.
All right, well there you go. Thank you, Sam. Coming up in sports, the Frontenac girls aim to move on to the Raider Classic Championship tonight. Plus, the Carl Junction girls get their 9th straight win and advance to the championship game at the Bill Hanson Memorial Tournament in Pittsburgh.
Well, tonight is semifinal night at the Bill Hanson Memorial Basketball Tournament in Pittsburgh. On the girls' bracket, the Carl Junction Bulldogs have a chance to move on to the championship game, facing the Blue Valley Northwest Huskies. Carl Junction 13-1 coming into the day on an 8-game winning streak. CJ down 2 early. Chloe Burke, corner 3, gives the Bulldogs a 1-point lead, but Northwest up 2 after 1. Second quarter, Destiny Berge, good look to Desi Williams. She finishes off the glass. CJ hanging around. They're within 3 at halftime. Now, they were down 9 in the fourth today, but here come the Bulldogs. Destiny Berge drives and finishes through traffic. She scores 22. Then down 3, Hallie Shorter. Huge 3-ball from the corner. That ties the game. Bulldogs take the lead at the free throw line. Then final chance for Northwest. It is off the mark. Carl Junction, 4 tournaments this season. They made the championship game in all of them. Bulldogs win tonight 45-42.
That was one of our goals at the beginning of the year is to be in the championship of every tournament, and you know, it feels good. It feels good to get a win like that. You know, we need wins like that, close wins, and I felt like our kids battled. So we're going to have our work cut out for us tomorrow too. Whichever team here wins is going to give us all we want for sure.
Well, tonight is also semifinal night at the 4-State Raider Classic at Frontenac High School. On the girls' side, tournament host Raiders are in the semifinals tonight, facing another local team in the Nevada Tigers. And the winner of this one plays for the tournament title tomorrow afternoon. Clara Swearingen, really good start for Nevada. Nobody steps up, so she buries the deep ball. Swearingen again, about the same spot, 11 in the first quarter, 18 in the first half for Swearingen. Other end, Hattie Pyle through some contact for Frontenac. She gets 13 in the first half, but it's Tigers by 4 at the break. Then in the third quarter, Nevada didn't miss very many. Katie Johnson, good from the right side for 3. Then Abby Heffman hits a long ball of her own. Tigers get the lead to double digits. Frontenac tightens the game late, but it's Nevada moving on to the championship 58-55. On the other side of the bracket, Fort Scott faces Blue Springs. Fort Scott 10-0 coming into the day, ranked 5th in the state in Class 4A. Today, though, Tigers suffer their first loss, 61-39. So it'll be Blue Springs and Nevada for the tournament championship tomorrow afternoon. The boys semifinal in Frontenac tonight, Fort Scott and Webb City. Dirks Kegler 3 for Fort Scott. He scores 15 tonight. Then it's Rocco Lafredo getting a nice putback. Fort Scott scores the first 6 points of the night. Webb City gets going. Holton Keith off the steal. Nice move the other way for 2. And Keith also doing it from deep. 3 from the top of the key. He scores 12 for Webb City tonight. It was close all night, but Webb City wins 53-47 to advance to the Raider Classic Championship.
It's the 5th year in a row we've been in the finals. This is a young group. They've played really well up to this point. And all these games are dress rehearsal for the district tournament for us. So anytime you can be in a championship game, in a big game environment, the crowd will be really good over here. I think it's what prepares for postseason play.
After a bye week to begin the playoffs, the Kansas City Chiefs are back in action this weekend, hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars for a spot in the AFC Championship game. Like we do every Friday during game week, right now, it's time to hear from the voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holthus, in this week's Minute with Mitch.
It's time for the Chiefs to attack the divisional round of the playoffs. Remember last week when I talked about veterans Carlos Dunlap and Juju Smith-Schuster, who are looking for their first ever playoff win? Well, who would have thought that one of the biggest assets for the Chiefs going into the postseason would be running back Jerick McKinnon? McKinnon's been phenomenal. In the regular season, he accounted for 803 total scrimmage yards and had an NFL best and record-setting 9 touchdowns receiving as a running back. But it's McKinnon's uncanny knack of playing with Patrick Mahomes, when to block, when to run, when to catch in a split second that makes Jerick such a weapon in the playoffs. This is McKinnon's 9th year. It will only be his 6th playoff game. Now he'll be excited. McKinnon will be ready, and he'll also be valuable in this Minute with Mitch. The Minute with Mitch is brought to you by Como Jewelry. Every day's game day, Como Jewelry, Pittsburgh, Joplin.
And that Chiefs-Jaguars game kicks off at 3:30 tomorrow afternoon. In that game, the Chiefs are 8.5-point favorites. And that's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Before you toast your latest accomplishment or throw back a cold one at a sports game, health officials are sounding the alarm about consuming alcoholic beverages. Fox News correspondent Ashley Strohmeyer reports.
How much alcohol is considered a safe amount? Well, our neighbors to the north say absolutely none at all. The Canadian Center on Substance Abuse and Addiction is issuing new health guidance you may want to hear. While officials caution against drinking alcohol, they say if you are going to indulge, consuming more than 2 standard alcoholic beverages a week can pose health risks. Those health complications can include increased risk for colon and breast cancer, as well as heart disease and stroke. And the risk factors rise with each drink you take. For reference, 1 standard drink consists of either a 12-ounce bottle of beer or hard cider, a 5-ounce glass of wine, or a shot glass worth of liquor. Besides promoting better sleep, going sober offers a slew of other health benefits.
The condition of your skin, increased amount of energy, weight loss.
Meanwhile, rosé. As we near the end of dry January, some companies catering to those looking for non-alcoholic wines and beers have noticed growing demand.
Dry January has become more and more popular, and last year we really felt that effect.
Business owners expect interest in non- or low-alcoholic drinks to keep rising as more people make abstaining from alcohol a permanent habit instead of a month-long trend. Drink market analysis company IWSR estimates the non-alcoholic drink market in the U.S. will grow by more than 25% by 2026. In New York, Ashley Strohmeyer, Fox News.
Coming up, how a 102-year-old woman continues to find time to do the hobby she loves. A 102-year-old woman is keeping up with her lifelong passion. After decades, she is still picking up her painting brush and turning out works of art. Fox's Dawn Timoney has more.
She's from right here in Chestnut Hill, and honestly, I would never have guessed in a million years, if I didn't already know, that this sweet, talented and engaging woman was a centenarian.
Always liked art and painting.
And at 102 years old, Emily Braesky is still at it. She studied at the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts as a young woman, but says one of the things that got her interested, the family card game.
Our family used to play cards a lot, and we had a wonderful pack of cards that had famous artists on there, and that sort of intrigued me.
Known as KO to her friends, she began painting portraits in her 40s, including former Governor Raymond Schaefer and several Commonwealth Court judges, which hang in the state capitol. She recalls a retired lawyer recently remarking on them.
He saw my portraits, and he said, "Oh, I know them, each one of them." So I thought, good, it worked.
Emily also painting many portraits over the years of Philadelphia families. 5 of them adorn the walls in the home of longtime Chestnut Hill resident Jack McMeekin.
I like her as much, if not more, than her work. She's just such a genuine person.
Emily grew up in Chestnut Hill, but has spent the last 20 or so years living in Cathedral Village in Upper Roxborough, where her home is pretty much her studio.
This one I painted here. They were sitting right here on the sofa.
This centenarian has painted all her family members, her daughters and grandchildren. This is a recent one of granddaughter Sarah. She says her style has changed and evolved from realistic to more abstract, as you can see by the work covering her walls. As for her portrait painting,
people still ask me. I'd give it a try.
And no, don't expect Emily to be hanging up her paintbrushes anytime soon.
I feel uncomfortable when I'm not painting. It's just something that happens.
That's our time for tonight. Thank you for joining us. We'll leave you with a video of a polar bear at the Brookfield Zoo playing in the snow. Be safe, and we'll see you all tomorrow.